eyes open. I just, you remember Good Morning Vietnam? Yeah, where he does that. That's where I stole it from. Today on Invitation by Invictus, we have my friend, my commercial realtor, my ride or die, Nora Walsh. I met Nora a couple years ago when I kind of did like a little
Center for Economic Success, I think it was.
And you were just starting out in your realtor career, your commercial realtor career. And
Yep.
we connected. You gave me your card, and then I knew that Invictus was growing, and we needed our own space. So
Yeah.
I reached out to you probably at the beginning of July, and I'm like, I need space, and I need for you to help me, because I have no freaking clue what I'm doing. So
And now we're here.
Here we are. And Nora actually found the space that we are in currently. So we met over Zoom, and I was like, this is what I'm looking for. I want to create my own studio. I want lots of natural lighting, hardwood floor, open ceilings, and I want something unique and different. I don't want to be in a shop. I don't want to be a storefront. So something like in a open, creative, collaborative environment. And then I also wanted to create something to where like I can hold events if I needed to, or if I needed to build my own set per se. If I had a crazy commercial come up, I wanted something that I had that flexibility and availability. So we started in July, and I think we found our current location the end of October, and it was kind of like shoot in the dark, last minute whim, I guess.
It was, I think it was the day it came on the market, I shot it over to you, and you said, yep, we need to look at that, check it out. I think we're getting pretty serious about another location, but I mean, you're luckily very specific about your needs, and I saw the high ceilings, great natural light, everything that you'd been looking for. So, took a shot at it and ended up being a perfect fit. So
yeah, I remember we went to the second floor first, and I was like, it's okay. It wasn't, it was lots of cubicles. It was really distracting. And then we came up to the third floor, and like as soon as we came upstairs and I saw it, it was like, for me, like the moment was the heavens had parted and the angels.
The aha moment.
And I looked at Nora and I was like, this is it. This is it. Like I was sold at that point.
It's funny when you see about it from the residential standpoint, people are always, you walk in, how do you see things? You have everything staged. It's a little bit different with commercial. You see the cubicles and everything that can throw it off, but you're able to kind of see past that and say, okay, this is really where I envision it. This is, I'm going to have my desk here. This is going to be the event space. This is exactly what I've been looking for.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah, it was crazy. And the deal came together really quick because we signed it in November and moved in the following month. Yeah, that was awesome. So anybody out there that needs a kick-ass commercial realtor, because Nora is for real my ride or die. Like, I can't even tell you. How many spaces did we see?
Oh, I'd say at least 6 that we seriously checked
considered.
out.
Yeah, but we looked at probably a dozen, maybe a dozen and a half before, like just through pamphlets or online.
Right.
Yeah, we combed through a lot. So Nora at SVN Create, correct? So Nora and Heath are like, I don't know Heath, but I know of Heath. So
my colleague,
yeah. So
we work a lot of deals together. So
yeah, and he's
gets
also
a little busy and hectic.
He's the principal there, right?
Yep, managing director.
Okay. So Nora at svncreate.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
See, I remember. So for those that don't know who Nora Walsh is, give us the Cliff Note version of who you are, where you came from, and what got you to Des Moines, because you are actually a transplant, correct?
I am. I like to say I drink the Kool-Aid now, so it's pretty funny. I never would have pictured myself permanently being in Des Moines, but I'm a Chicagoland native. I'm from the suburbs.
Yeah.
I grew up there, and when looking at schools, I didn't even necessarily want to be in Iowa. It was a rainy day, and I always kind of laugh about it because the day I visited, I even got out of the car, and there's a food processing plant that sometimes it makes it smell a little funky, meat processing plant, and I literally said, Des Moines even smells kind of weird. Like, I just was not about it. I don't know, but it was the worst possible weather you could have had, but I still just, when visiting all these different schools, I fell in love with it. The main reason I came here was to go to Drake. Their business school is phenomenal.
Okay.
And so I ended up coming here. Once again, didn't really think I would stay here permanently. But after I graduated and kind of got outside of my little campus bubble, started exploring.
Yeah.
I moved to the west side and just driving around. When you're not on campus, you really start to explore. And I honestly fell in love. Probably within 6 months, I was like, I thought I'd maybe be temporary here, but I really ended up, like I say, drinking the Kool-Aid now. Mm-hmm. So I started off on the residential side, property management. So I did that for 2 years. I really did love it, but it definitely gets really intense. Property management versus, first of all, being the residential side versus commercial.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's fast paced, but it's very repetitive. You have 6-month leases, you have a year-long lease. It's the exact same property, very cookie cutter. So it's good to kind of have that stability and be so regular. But I've grown up knowing the commercial market. My dad's a commercial real estate agent.
Oh, okay.
Out of Chicagoland area, and then he does some work at Merle Hay Mall as well. So
okay.
I've always had some of an eye for it, but I honestly didn't really consider doing that as a career until I got involved in the property management side. We had an investor that came in and bought the property, so we had to review the financials and just kind of really delving into it. When I was ready to mix it up a little bit, I would say it was almost somewhat spontaneous. I decided that's what I wanted to do, and I immediately started studying to get my real estate license and gave my notice, and that's when I met Heath. I just kind of networked around Des Moines, and good thing with Des Moines is it's small enough that, everyone knows everyone, so I could get introduced to
2 degrees
someone
of
from...
separation.
Yeah, exactly. I can get introduced to someone from each company, so everyone has their own flair, and, everyone's great here, but it was really a fit at SVN. So, it's a small mentality, but we've been growing like crazy, and it's really collaborative, just like you guys. And, we really lean on each other, and I really liked that about it. So,
awesome.
So now I'm permanent resident, and I'm all about the commercial life. So
yeah, you are. So why did you choose Heath?
So for me, it was really needing a mentor. My brother was even briefly in commercial real estate.
Okay.
Chicago is a whole different ball game. You can really drown in that stuff, and that's really kind of what killed it for him. He said, I didn't have a mentor. I didn't really have someone to really follow their lead, because there's so many nuances that make it different from the residential side to the commercial side.
Right.
So there is, you're never going to know everything, but just someone who's willing to sit down with you and, just really go through those little nuances, as opposed to just sending you out to swim. A lot of people just say, hey, we're going to put you on the starvation diet, and you just start, and, you're trying so hard for deals that you're not really, I would say, not really assisting your clients that well, because you're just so desperate to get a deal closed, or, relying on that you're not really doing the job of advising. So we call ourselves advisors, not necessarily brokers, because
or agents.
Because that's our job. Our job is to advise. If it's not the right time for someone to move, we're going to tell them, hey, I don't think this is the right step for you. We'll talk to you in 3 years. It's a long-term game, but if it's not right for you and we advise you to make a bad decision, you're obviously not going to have faith in us in the future. So it's a lot.
I know that, I would definitely say you guys, or at least you, there was a lot of advising, because I would just be like, what do you think, Nora? Truthfully. Because, I tell my staff, at the end of the day, you can only but respect the truth.
Right.
So I was just like, I just want to know what you think, because you are in the commercial aspect. I need your help in this. So.
Well, I will say that you are a breath of fresh air, actually. Something that's interesting is that you always work with different people. Every business owner, you could be in the same industry, but, if I'm working with another media production company, it can be completely different attitude.
Right.
Everyone has their own flair for their company.
Right.
But people like you are great to work with because you do respect the opinion. You say, okay, let me take a step back, take my emotions out of it and say, okay, you know, what really matters here? And you're able to kind of lay it out on the table and analyze, you know, what factors are really important and actually listen to that. So
Yeah.
makes my job even easier.
Yeah. I, you know, for me, it was just, you know, we looked at so many spaces and it was just kind of like, no, you know. So, sometimes it was a fuck no.
Couple times.
Yeah, a couple times it was really like that. But, you know, it was now that I look back on it, it really wasn't that long of a process, but it just got to be, you just look at so many different things and, you know, you meet so many different people in it that, you know, it just feels like, I knew at one point, I felt like, am I ever going to find the right space? Am I ever going to get to the end point? Because we got close to one or two deals. Because we put in, two?
Letter of intents. Yep.
Two letter of intents before we put the letter of intent to this place. And I just, you know, I like to say everything happens for a reason because it eventually led us to the Encore building. Yeah, your ideal space. And, you know, that's the game in commercial real estate. I remember telling you that in the beginning, hey, you know, we're going to have to write multiple offers. And it is hard because even though you're looking at it from a business standpoint, it's still difficult to take your emotions out of it. You know, you're invested. You're investing your business, your life, you know, all your employees, you know, you're putting it on everyone. Your future.
Yeah, exactly. So when you walk in a space and you can finally start to envision it, you know, if something goes wrong and it just feels like the rug's been pulled out from under you, it's difficult to reevaluate and go, okay, let's start back from the drawing board, you know, start over.
Yeah.
This is what we're looking for, you know, to reevaluate. It's difficult to do that when you invest your emotions, but, you know, you got to be able to kind of put that aside. So you were pretty good with that, but
well, I kind of had to be. I will say that when we started this process, I was like, "This is my budget, and we are nowhere near my budget." So I was like, "Okay,
we're a lot larger in size too."
We are. We had to. You know, my ideal space was 2,000 square feet, and now we're in double. So, and I was like, okay, this is, you know. My girlfriend's like, God, this is such a huge risk, you know, like Abby plays it safe. I've just learned in the creative world, playing it safe doesn't get you anywhere. So this was a giant step for me. And I just had to, you know, I always say you have to do uncomfortable things to be a better person. This was such an uncomfortable step for myself and for Invictus. But I knew it was the right step for my staff, and I knew I had the right person to do it with me, which was you and SVN, because, you know, I think, you know I'm a super direct communicator. So I was like, Nora, X, Y, and Z, and you're like, okay, cool. And then I would get another group of searches that you would send back to me, and it's like, okay, so where do we evaluate from there? I will say, if anybody that's looking for commercial space, you need to reach out to Nora because she listens to everything that you say, and, you know, and at the same time, you know, I will truthfully say she looks out for your best interests, because she did for ours, for mine and for Invictus. And it was comforting to know that, because I knew that you weren't just going to take me down this rabbit hole so that you can hurry up and close a deal. Right.
That's well appreciated.
And I think in the whether you're an agent or an advisor or a realtor, you know, I think a lot of people do that because they just want to hurry up and close a deal, you know? So
yeah, and I think you see that people are probably especially used to that. People obviously work with residential real estate agents a lot more frequently, and that's turnover fast. They need, you know, consistent.
Right.
Whereas in the commercial world, you know, you're used to the longer term leases. It's not the 6 month or the year commitment. You know, people are committing to 5-7 years. So, you know, it's something that we have to adjust to as agents and as advisors. But it definitely instills patience in me. But it's, you know, just kind of sharing that knowledge with everyone else, because not everyone's used to the amount of time that it does take. And, you know, it's not an immediate process where you find a home and you write on it right then and there. You know, typically you're going to need to, you know, put that into your business plan, see if the financials work. It's a little bit more of a process, but hopefully
Yeah.
it has a lot bigger payoff.
Yeah. I looked at it twofold. Like, it was kind of like, okay, I know this is how many videos I have to sell this month to cover my rent.
And the additional event space
Yeah.
to kind of incorporate that in.
And then it just looked at too, okay, as we grow the space, we can grow into that space. So that's basically how I looked at it. And it was just kind of like, okay, 2,000 went to 4,000, and there just went my budget. But it's cool because, you know, it everything works out in the end, you know? So, because I wanted a space to where when people now, when they get off the elevator, they walk in, they're like, whoa, holy crap, this is it? Yes, this is it. And I also wanted that space for my staff to where they love coming to work every day. They love their workstations. They love the culture, the environment, and the creativity, freedom that is there.
I think that's especially essential in your business. You know, COVID has been changing the dynamic on everything, and people are dying to work from home now, and everyone's kind of adjusting to that. But in your creative atmosphere, you know, you guys have to be able to be collaborative and pop over and see what each other are doing. So yeah, that's really an essential need for a business like yours. And definitely had that aha moment just getting off the elevator with yourself. So for other people to have that and want to come in and have their events here so that everyone can kind of have that exact same feeling, that can be crucial. So
I think Lucas, who was my landlord's agent, I think I said to him, I was like, this is it. And I had met Lucas probably like 2 months before that because he was the agent for a different commercial space, and I was like, no.
That we had checked out,
So I was like, this is it. And Lucas is like, what? And I was like, this is it, dude. This is, I want this. We need to write on this today. He's like, for real? I was like, yeah, for real. Make it happen. So he's like, okay.
I think his mind was definitely blown when I came from the fuck no to the hell yes. So. A little bit of a change of pace, but I mean, hey, you're straightforward. You know what you want.
Yeah, I knew it.
Here we are. So
I wish I could have made a video of it. So let's kind of talk about COVID times, right? Let's talk about I think people in general, because, you know, we are seeing a lot more people working from home on the commercial side of things.
Sure.
A lot of people, do you think that there's this big misconception that because of COVID, it's going to change the landscape for commercial real estate?
No, I wouldn't say that that's a misconception. I think the landscape definitely is changing. We've already seen a significant boom on the industrial side. I mean, all the online ordering, that's something, there was a little bit of a cog in the machine because everything took a pause when everything shut down.
Right.
So now we're seeing it even more going to 2021. There was a backlog in supplies, so there was no construction that could be done. Everyone had these orders placed and ready to go. So now it's ramping up twice as much. So industrial's been booming. Retail is really transforming. We've been seeing that already over the past years. There's a lot of different but really clever adaptive reuse projects occurring.
What do you mean reuse?
So if you're going, I'll use a listing that I have right now as an example. We have a office tower that is located within a mall, and they've been vacating all the tenants from there, and they want to transform that and see that be utilized for a residential use.
Oh,
so
okay.
So the idea for that is there's not enough doors in the area. They're looking to see the connectivity to the mall, so people have this direct access to, you know, grocery, apparel, lifestyle, all these different uses. Now they're going to be having, they're also at the same mall transforming a former big box store to a ice hockey arena.
That's Merle Hay,
So
right?
that's Merle Hay. Yeah. So there's, we're going to be seeing that everywhere. Everyone's looking to reutilize these big box stores. There's self-storage. There's endless, amount of uses for those. So retail, we've been seeing that transform for a while. Some people were concerned that restaurants were going to be dying. I think for a little while, we are still going to be noticing people's habits change. Our QSRs is a quick serve restaurant, so any of those restaurants that require the drive-through, those were already in pretty high demand. Now I'm seeing it as an absolute requirement for people. They say we will not invest in it unless it has a drive-through, because it became so common with COVID. So now these effects are starting to last. probably started using DoorDash or Uber Eats more often than you did before. For me, I didn't use it at all before, and then I started to actually utilize some of those third-party services. So just the ease and the convenience, people just kind of getting used to that. It changes people's habits. So it really does change the dynamic, but I wouldn't really say that particular areas are dying.
Okay. So you haven't seen a shift.
Office is very transformational. Downtown, that's definitely suffering, but I would say 12 to 18 months from now, we're going to be seeing, robust growth. People, once again, it's going to be transformative depending on the size of the company. Some people still want to stick to that wide open atmosphere, collaborative. Other people are reverting away from that and having the private offices, once again, from the sake of COVID and just having kind of that privacy, because it has changed people's attitudes. So I think if anything, it's going to change where people are comfortable working. It's going to change, do I want to be in that large atmosphere, or do I want to be more comfortable in a smaller company, with less going on? So it definitely changes people's habits, and I would say that it has been transformational, and it will continue to be, but that's commercial real estate. We're around in, 08 happened and made it through there. Right. So, there's a lot of transforming and changing and adapting, but you have to adapt to survive, and I think that's what all the business owners are learning nowadays.
So you haven't seen a shift in the real estate, in the restaurant industry yet?
It's been transforming more to the QSRs. That's been a lot higher demand to have the drive-through accessibility. We've had, but you may think that a sit-down restaurant needs to be smaller if they're transforming to more of the takeout, but at the same time, people want that space between each other. If you have those quaint little restaurants, a lot of people are still going to want to gravitate and have that more space available to them between. So it definitely does transform, and I have seen a shift, but it's not dying by any means.
Okay. Well, that's good. And then what do you think is going to happen? You talked about the downtown space. You're going to see transformation and shift in that. You think that they'll come out of cubicle country and go into private offices?
Potentially. It really depends on the size of the company. You have something, locations like Principal or Wells Fargo, and financially it doesn't really make sense for them to be changing the entire dynamic. So they're going to be introducing people slowly back. They're going to be bringing them back in phases and groups.
I think that should be starting here fairly soon, from what I've heard.
Yeah, now that vaccines are out, it's New Year here, so we're definitely. But I know quite a few people that they're not going to be going back to the office for another 3 or 4 months. So, people are adjusting to that, but it affects it in more ways than you realize. Not only are you not being around people, and it really affects training. If you're having new members come onto the team and they're going to start off virtually, it's a whole different dynamic when it comes to training. So those large companies where they have high turnover, it's really affects it in those natures as well. So that really makes a big effect as well.
So what would you say to somebody that's because you guys represent the seller and the seller, but
we say owners and occupiers. So if it's a tenant, it's a buyer, it's a seller, it's a landlord. Yeah, we represent all.
So the owners that, for instance, let's talk about the Nationwide building, right? Because they're opening up, floors or pieces of their building to rent? Yeah,
they're subleasing spaces.
Okay, they're subleasing. So if a occupier is I want office space, do you think renting out of the Nationwide building is a good idea?
For a new tenant coming in and looking to sublease that space, it's a really cost efficient. They're subleasing, it's not going to be at the same rate. So they're giving a discounted rate. Maybe they're going to be paying for operating expenses and you pay the rent. There's different dynamics. Maybe they'll just kind of do an all-in number. But I did have quite a few people that actually reached out as soon as it started really hitting the fan, and saying, hey, we're looking for great deals. One thing that was a misconception is that the rates would just start rapidly plummeting. We haven't really been seeing that.
Yeah, everybody says that.
So that's definitely a misconception. People are in these lease agreements. They have 5, 7. Locations like that or large companies like that are going to have 10, 15 years. So they have this obligation. So they can afford to pay something, nominal amounts like the operating expenses, but they're going to have someone come in. It's, it doesn't really make economical sense. They can't just end their lease. You have a financial, you have a legal obligation, and it's a large enough company where, they still have to fulfill that. So, people are finding deals in that way. Even on the sales side, some owners were a bit frantic. If they were maybe only looking to sell, then they said, hey, you know what? I don't know how long this is going to be on the market. I'm going to go ahead and sell it instead of just looking to lease it. It does affect especially the smaller owners, or if they're, newer to commercial real estate, especially in the investment side. If they can't see that longevity, that's what commercial real estate is. It's a long stretch. It's a long stretch. All leases are long. Everything's a lot longer. So it's not so much like a residential kind of flip and sell. So you have to be in it for the long run, no matter what side you're on. If you're a landlord or if you're a tenant.
Yeah. So in the last year, because we're approaching a year since COVID.
Scary.
Yeah, I know. Have you seen a change or a shift to where it is more favorable for the occupier versus the owner?
I would say mostly in the office space. Okay. Yeah, mostly, downtown. Once again, a lot of it is sublease. Not all the larger landlords are willing to, they still have some of their heels stuck in the ground and are kind of somewhat stubborn in terms of rental prices, just because they once again, they can see the long run. They know, hey, in 12 months it's going to be, returning back to new normal, and not really wanting to say, hey, all right, well, we're not going to sign a 5-7 year lease at an extremely discounted rate when we could just, wait 6 months, 9 months, and, have a very credible tenant that's, willing to see the value in that. So, it really does depend on the owner and what their goals are and, what they can afford. If it's a local landlord and, he's just got a single tenant building and he can't afford to just sit on it and be paying taxes and not receive any income, then sure, they're going to be probably dropping the price and be willing to take shorter term leases and more flexibility. So it's all kind of about matching. It's always about matching the right tenant with the right landlord or, the right buyer and seller, but we're seeing that even more so now. Yeah.
My landlord's a shit, so I like him a lot. His name is Kent. So
and that's what we ideally look for.
Yeah.
So
he's awesome.
Hey, you could have a new neighbor downstairs.
I probably will in probably May.
Yeah.
April or May, I can't remember. So
it's gonna be May.
Yeah, May 4th. May the 4th be with you.
Yes.
I think that's probably good. Because I think that's good that you're saying these things, because I know back in maybe August I was like, fuck it, we'll just wait. We'll just wait after the first of the year. And you're just like, I don't think things are going to change. It is what it is. And then the other thing that you also advised was it also depends on how long that space stays open. That actually determines some of that cost factor as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, because it's all about, it's just like what you said, how long have they been sitting on it? Are they paying taxes? How long has it been empty? Those are all things that go into it.
Yeah, they're still having to pay those operating expenses. We're in the middle of winter in the Midwest. You can't just turn absolutely everything off. You got to have the heat running so the pipes don't burst. There's other aspects to it where they're still paying just to have that sit vacant. So it does affect things, but it all kind of depends on their financial abilities and what their long game plan is. If they are looking for a 10-year tenant, then they're not going to abide by someone who's coming around looking for a 6-month lease and at a discounted of 75%, rental rate. It doesn't make sense for them. Yeah. So it's all about playing the game, It
really is.
I think of like commercial real estate kind of like a puzzle. I always loved puzzles growing up, but it's just everything it's just really fitting all the right pieces together. For you have all these specific dynamics. I need the natural lighting, I need space for growth for my company, for the event space, all that. And then when you throw COVID in, okay, well, these people are only looking for short term and they're looking for that discounted rate. Well, we can find the right, it's just putting the right pieces together.
Right.
So.
Yeah. for sure.
It's fun.
So you got the Merle Hay project in the works, right?
mhm.
So Bucks Arena is going in there.
Yep.
A hotel's going in there.
Yep.
And then what else you got going on?
They're also developing workforce housing there, but you know, our office, we work in all segments. I am specializing. I'm going off and going to be having a specialty practice group for restaurant and food grade facilities.
Okay.
So you know, food production and development on that side. We do. That's kind of what SVN. Where SVN's a franchise, and they really like to stress having a specialization because just like residential, you know, everyone can work on anything. So you know, we work on industrial deals, we work on office deals, retail, land development. So you know, it's real all across the board. So I'm going to be pushing a little bit further into that niche. But right now, yeah, it's still just you know, we're working on. I have quite a few industrial deals in the works right now. Like I mentioned, that's really what's booming right now, and people are expanding like crazy.
Yeah.
And so, and especially with the growth in Des Moines, I mean, we're seeing a lot more of that. So
Well, you just before me, you worked with Black and Bold, correct?
Yes.
You worked with PJ at Black and Bold.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Great
where's
guys.
where's their facility at?
So they're over on Park Avenue.
Okay.
So which is really good for the workforce, having it on that south side, right, kind of between West Des Moines and between downtown Des Moines.
Nice.
So having
Yeah.
it's really ideal for his location. Food grade is very specific, and you know, you can't really be having holes in the wall, just all little different dynamic things that you wouldn't think of. You know, he needed a hole punched through the roof for his roasters, and that all has to be approved, you know, to be food grade facility for you to be able to produce that. People come in and thoroughly check in on that. So, yeah, just learning all those ins and outs and little nuances. I mean, as much as I teach my clients, they teach me, you know, just as much about their day in and day out work. Like I mentioned, it could be another media production company, but everyone has their own little nuances and their flares and how they work and how they operate and what's important. So you learn a lot along the way.
Yeah, I bet you do. Food grade. Wow, that's a lot.
I like to eat, so that motivates me. It truly is what I find interesting.
Food
so
makes me happy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like the food hospitality industry is, you know, they're heavily regulated, heavily watched. So it's just, you know, you have to know so much just to make sure that you're within code, within inspection and things like that. Whereas like us, you know, as long as the building's in code, we can move right into it.
Exactly.
So it's like no big deal.
Yeah,
but I
absolutely.
can't imagine how many more. I was so stressed out in just one piece of it, which was finding the space, going through the lease process, and then, you know, moving. Like that's all I had to worry about. I was lucky I didn't have to worry about this inspector, that inspector, one thing after another.
Right, absolutely. It kind of ends up being like a math equation, though. So, I mean, similar to being like a puzzle piece, it just, you know, you have to have all these, here are the requirements, and just making sure it lines up right.
So SVN Create is in West Des Moines, correct? And
West
then
Glen.
And then you guys are actually moving?
Yes. So something that we've been doing with our company, we're really trying to become more full service.
Okay.
So we offer our leasing and sales advisory services, and then we've brought into the mix project management. So that's owner's rep assistance, and you know, if you're going to be doing a ground up project, so the construction management side of it. Because to me, if you're going to ask me about that, it's, you know, there's you got to stay in your lane. So we're trying to become more full service. So now we have project managers, and then we're also bringing into it property management. So that really kind of rounds things out. So we're going to be relocating and doing the property management, leasing all out of the same building, so that we can be on site, give ownership, you know, their weekly, bi-weekly updates that they're wanting, and be able to handle it that way. So being able to bring in these additional dynamics. A lot of people don't necessarily want to hire a property management company and then a separate leasing company. It makes it simpler, more simple to have everything all in one place and have someone handle all that. So we're bringing those additional services on to become kind more full service.
Yeah, one-stop shop.
Sure.
And when do you guys plan on moving?
We're going to be relocating in about a month and a half here.
Oh,
so
wow, that's quick.
a winter move, but I mean,
We did it.
luckily, yeah.
But
Exactly.
I'm sure you'll have professionals come move you instead of staff.
No.
Oh, you guys are
no,
doing it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't.
Uh-huh.
Heath, listen to me. Moving in the winter sucks balls.
Luckily, we are getting all new furniture is going to be delivered and brought up for us.
Oh,
but
okay.
I won't be handling any of the install. So
Okay. Yeah.
knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
It's not what I signed up for.
I literally, Hunter and I were doing, I can't what we were moving, but I was like, dude, we're never moving again. I'm telling you right now.
You got it done pretty fast, though. I remember texting you, and I thought you had just gotten the furniture in like a day or two before, and you're like, yep, we're setting everything up, and you sent me a picture of all your desks and whatnot starting to get put together, and
Yeah.
you definitely work fast.
We moved in like, what, 3 or 4 hours, Marielle? Yeah, 3 or 4 hours, and then by that afternoon, we were putting the office together.
Hey, well,
So.
that's good. That means you have your fast turnover time for your videos. You know, you really have that all throughout your company. Fast turnover. Come on, guys.
Yeah,
We're not
fast-
wasting any time.
Yeah, furniture moving 101. Well, to be fair, we moved in, we left a pretty cramped, like around 500 square feet space.
Right.
And moved into 4,000. So it was kind of like, there kind of wasn't that much to move.
Right.
And then we
Probably got rid of some stuff, too. And
Yeah, we did. And
Yeah.
then we had packed everything, all the computers and stuff like that up the day before. So it was
Right.
like easy. I kept all the boxes, so it's easy.
What I'm hearing is you guys were great at it, and you're going to help us out now so we can hire you.
Yeah, no, I'm too old for that shit. Yeah, no. Heath, I love you, but no, dude, sorry, you're on your own on that. So, and we did it when it had just finished icing, or not. It was that it had snowed really bad, and the snow had turned into ice because it got cold really quick.
Oh, yeah. That's the beauty of the Midwest. Yeah, the wintry mix that freezes over.
Yeah, our old parking lot in our old building, they did not do snow removal.
Oh, jeez.
So it was like literally we were, slowly walking out there, and then anything that we could load on the dock, we did quickly, and then brought it here, and then just basically stopped traffic, in front of 3rd Street. So put my flashers on, and I was like, hey, sorry, I'm moving.
Hold on, y'all. This is important.
Yeah. So if I am a owner or an occupier, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Email, phone call. I would say stop by, but we're going to be relocating, so in the future. But
Okay.
Any form. I've got 2 phone numbers, and they both go directly to my cell phone. So always
What's the
available.
phone number to reach you at?
515-259-1041.
Okay. And then Nora at SVNCreate.com.
Yeah, you got that. I love that.
And then if I wanted to go on do you guys have stuff on your website too, where you have
Yeah, we
listings?
have. Yeah, so we have any of our listings that are available. We have all of our products and services
Okay.
available on there. There's some news articles if that's what you fancy.
Okay.
But yeah.
And that's SVNCreate.com.
.com.
Okay, there you guys go. And then
We're on Facebook and LinkedIn, so
Yeah.
trying to
Trying to get in that social media game.
yeah.
Trying to get it strong.
We're all kind of old, but luckily we have a new young intern who's great at that, and he loves it. So
Yeah.
he's been awesome at updating us there.
Okay, cool. That's always good.
Yeah.
Those are always great. So when do you anticipate to start seeing change at Merle Hay Mall?
It's already started. So the
Okay.
ground has broke for the workforce housing development project.
Okay.
Although everyone sees the construction and thinks it's the Buccaneer Stadium, that's not happening yet. They are going to be tearing down the former Sears location. They've already hired someone to do that job, so that'll be taking place. The new Kohl's, everything's going to be under construction in 2021, but it's going to be up, knock on wood, in 2022.
Okay.
So, things to look forward to.
Yeah. Do you got anything else that you wanna talk about? Like any projects, or are they all kind of hush hush?
The exciting ones are hush hush.
Oh.
So
So if we want to see the press release, where do we find those at?
business record, that has the official
Okay.
when they kind of put the master plan out and
Okay.
all those details. They put
Okay.
that there. So yeah, business record.
Okay. And then sometimes you put it on your Facebook page.
Oh
too.
yeah. I definitely have that on my LinkedIn and probably on
Okay.
my Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah. should probably be better about that, but
Just make the intern do it.
yeah, I should
Yeah.
make him do that.
Yeah, you should make
All
him
right,
do
here's
it.
my account. Make it look nice.
Yeah, keep it fancy. Okay, cool. So svncreate.com, Nora at SVN Create, and then your phone number again is
515-259-1041. And the email is just at svn.com, but
okay.
we'll plug that in.
Yeah. Again, if you need assistance, and you'll just even have conversation with somebody if they have questions.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
That's what people joke. It's all of our work is free until something's done. I mean, it's
until you sign the lease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it's not. Yeah, right. But I mean, we have that all the time. I can't tell you how many people I'm just kind of working with indefinitely. I mean, over the course of years or months, just kind of whatever their process is. So just, have general kind of advisory questions. That's what we do. We're advisors. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, there you go. Nora was SVN Create, and then stop by, have a chat with them in their new office space. You guys are moving in March.
End of February, beginning of March.
Okay.
So yeah. Woo.
We'll put all that information in here on the old location currently and the new location.
Perfect.
So, and then I mean, if you guys want a tour of the space, Nora was the mastermind behind it. So Nora, I'm telling you, Nora is the shit. She is the bomb.com, if they still say that. She will hook you up.
Well, your space is looking awesome, and couldn't have done it without your team. So
yeah, for sure. But I couldn't, Nora literally was like, "This just came on the market, and do you want to take a tour of it?" And at first I was kind of like, I'm overseeing spaces. Like, I just want to. And it's like, yeah, I guess. I mean, it's just down the street. It was literally 5 minutes from my old office. Not even
And that's
that.
initially exactly what you were looking for. You started straying and looking a little bit further out, but then we brought you right back to where you wanted to be.
Yeah, I wanted to be downtown or East Village. So, because I just wanted that unique space. But then I was like, yeah, I got time this afternoon. And you're like, well, I can't do it today, but how about tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, it's like a 3-minute drive. Why not? Sure enough, it ended up being the space.
Aren't you glad you tried it out?
Yeah. Well, it only took us 3.5 months later to find it.
Yeah.
So I should have told Ken. I'd have been like, if you knew they were leaving sooner, you should have put this out there on the market before.
I think they did put it slightly before. I mean, their lease wasn't quite up yet. I think they had a couple weeks or something going on, but
yeah, but still, it was like,
oh yeah,
like I would think that if you knew they were moving out in 6 months, you would.
That's what you should be proactive with commercial, but
yeah, but that doesn't happen in a real world. Yeah. All right. Again, Nora Walsh with SVN Create. If you want to have a conversation with her, reach out to her, email, LinkedIn. I actually reached out to her originally through LinkedIn. I sent you a message. So we'll flash all that LinkedIn stuff down there too. I sent her a message on LinkedIn, and she responded within 24 hours.
and then we Zoomed.
Then we Zoomed, and then we met in person, and then it's like, and here we are now. Literally 7 months later.
All moved in.
All moved in, good to go.
It's great, though. It looks
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Thanks. Nora Walsh, SVN Create. Heath, you're welcome, buddy. I'm not helping you move, so don't ask. Nora at svncreate.com. And then you can check out their website, their social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, all that good stuff. And then, Nora, I appreciate all the time that you gave today. Thanks so much for coming in. Again, Nora at svncreate.com.
Well, I appreciate you continuously tolerating me. Your space is looking awesome, and I'm excited for when you start hosting events here.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully in March we'll get everything on and pop in. So. All right, guys. We out.